Hi everybody, back for some more videos. This time we're going to be looking at some Buddipole Yagis. I've received quite a few emails after I posted some pictures of these on the Buddipole forum. So today we're going to look at building 2-element and 3-element Yagis for 10 meters, for 12 meters and for 6 meters. The Buddipole system as it comes is great for the verticals and for the dipoles, but by adding a few extra components such as arms and the T-pieces, you can build up some really nice Yagis. I guess the one thing to mention about it before we start is they're not hugely robust. They're not like the Yagis that you would put outside on a tower. They're really meant for small portable setups. So the 3-element 10-meter beam is about as ambitious as you really want to get. The 2-element would do quite nicely on a windy day, and the 6-meter 3-element Yagi would stand up to quite a lot of buffeting in a breeze. So let's have a look at the pieces that you require for a start, and then I'll show you how to put them together and how to tune them. And we're outside in the garden today, so it's quite a nice day. It's not too breezy, so we're quite lucky. Okay, so here we are outside with the kit that we're going to need for the 2-element Yagis. This is for. So I guess the main things to point out is that you use the standard Versatility mount, and this will act as the dipole element on the driven element, and you connect the coax, which is in the standard kit as well. Just like you would with the normal dipole to the red and the black, but this doesn't screw on the top of the tripod and the mast. It actually fits at one end, and at the other end of the reflector we're going to use this small IT adapter. Now this has got these little sort of lugs on it, and inside the 6-meter kit, or purchase separately, you'll find these little mounts. These actually slide on the end of the tubes, and they pop on one end like that. And then the IT adapter has these little sort of lugs in it which actually slot into the back of those. Now that means that they're held on the tube, and there's a little set screw in the bottom here to stop it sliding around. So in a 2-element Yagi, you're going to need one of these at one end, you're going to need the T-piece at the other end, and in the center you'll need another one of these IT adapters. Now in the 6-meter kit you actually get some of these extra to build up a 2-element Yagi. So this is what would fit on top of the tripod. It uses the soft knob, exactly the same. That bolts through, and then that goes on top of the tripod, and I'll show you how that fits later. For the 2-element you're going to need 4 of these 22-inch tubes. There is a small adapter that comes in the 6-meter kit, because what you need to end up with, a screw hole at the end that you can actually put the soft knob into. If you did it the normal way, you would end up with one of these screw ends. For the 2-element 6-meter Yagi, you're going to need 4 of the 5-foot whips, and on the driven element end they're going to end up screwing into the Versatility, and that will then screw into one of the 22-inch tubes like so, and that would form one of the Yagi ends in terms of the actual radiator. At the reflector end you're going to end up with a Versatility, an IT adapter piece, and then 2 whips in that end. So that's a 2-element. For 10 meters you're going to need the longer whips, so you're going to need the 9.5-foot whips, and again they go in the same way. I use this little beast. This is a little impedance analyzer you can buy on eBay. It's a Chinese one. It's actually a graphing colour display, and it's got a lithium-ion battery, so it lasts quite a long time. and my trusty tape measure for setting the element lengths. So that's about all we need for the 2 elements on 6 and on 10 meters. The 3 elements are slightly different. The only thing that you need to build the 3 element Yagis is some additional arms, and for the 10 meter one you use 2 11-inch versions of these as well. They're half size, just to bring the boom out to the right length. And of course, for the 3 element ones, you're also going to need 6 whips, 5-foot whips for 6 meters, and 6 9.5-foot whips for 10 meters. The 12-meter Yagi is limited to a 2 element. Trying to go to 3 elements on 12 meters is a bit beyond the Buddipole mechanics. So I would suggest that the 3 element 10 meter beam is about the biggest that you would want to go, and even then I would be making sure you do that on a relatively calm day. Alright, I think that's pretty much it in terms of the parts that you need, so let's go build some Yagis. Okay, so here we have the mast set up, and the top of the mast has got the thread in it. It's the standard sort of Buddipole threaded piece. What we're going to do for a start is put one of the IT adapters on the top, and we're going to thread that in place with one of the soft knobs. So that forms on the 2 element, that forms the center. Now the next piece we're going to need is 2 of these 22-inch arms. Now I'm going to thread these on, and you'll see that this then starts to form the boom of the Yagi. Now there's 2 of these on the 2 element side, and that's those in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten this mast up a little bit to stop it rotating around, like so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on the other 2 arms, and then we'll have a look at the driven element using the Versity. Okay, here we are with the end of the boom. So the boom is connected to the IT adapter on top of the tripod. Now we have basically a threaded end. Now, using the Versity on these ends is quite simple. The only problem is that you'll come to find now is that you have basically a screw hole in that side and a screw hole in that side. Now that's where that little adapter comes. Basically you thread that little adapter into here, and or into the end of the boom here, and that allows you to join the 2. The IT adapter basically on the other end goes onto the one of these little collars. At this end you can do actually the same. If you look at the end of the Versity, it's got these little threaded holes inside it, and what you can actually do is you can actually put one of these little collars on and insert the little lugs into the ends of the holes here to stop it moving around. So it will mean that when you put it up into the air, you won't find the dipole or the driven element actually sagging either way. So I'm going to put those on now, and then we'll have a look at adding the whips, and then we'll go up to the other end of the Yagi and look at the reflector. Okay, so here you can see our driven element assembly. Basically we've got the Versity on the end of the boom with the little collar holding it in place. So now what you can do, you can basically screw 2 of the whips into place. On 6 meters these would be 5-foot whips. I'm going to make a 10 or a 12 element 2 element, so these are going to be 9.5-foot whips. Okay, and there we are. That's the driven element already. Basically, you can add the coax to this now. It's a standard Buddipole coax, and that plugs in on the red and the black side, and basically runs down the boom. Now there is a little Velcro collar, which will sit on here as well, so we'll look at those. Okay, back for the next part. Now we're at the reflector end of the antenna, and on the end of the 22-inch arm I've already put the collar on, and on this side we've put it so that the IT adapter, the lugs on this, are going to match up with the two holes in the collar. Secure that in place with a soft knob, and that's our reflector ready to go. Now all we need to do is put the whip into the end of that, and the same for the other side. So all that remains now is to set the element lengths using a tape measure, and then pretty much you're ready to go. And that's the 2 element, and what we'll do is I will now put this up in the air and you can have a look at it, how it looks. Okay, here we have the 2 element 10 meter Yagi. The 12 element is just a little bit longer, to be honest. The elements would just be hanging out a little bit more. As you can see, the elements hang down a little bit because of the length of the poles, and the whips themselves are fully out. So if we looked at the driven element, that's basically the Buddipole Versa-T with 2 arms. And then basically looking down the Yagi, we've got this IT adapter in the center, and then at the reflector end we've got yet another IT adapter. So that's pretty much the 2 element, and quite a reasonable antenna. I've got this set up today in the garden here. It's not particularly windy, but I've got this set up on a on the Buddipole. It's only about maybe at 15 feet, 10 feet up, something like that. It's on the 16-foot mast. Now the 6 meter 2 element is built in exactly the same way, only using shorter boom and obviously shorter whips. The 3 element 6 meter and 3 element 10 meter Yagis are slightly different, and I'll basically construct one of those for you now, and you can see how it fits together. So give me a few minutes, I'll take this one down, take it apart, and then we'll start building up the 3 elements, and you can see how they fit together. Okay, here we are ready to set up the 3 elements. So we've got our basic Buddipole mast and tripod, and our Versa-T. Now on this time with the 3 elements, we're actually going to screw the Versa-T onto the top of the antenna. Now this will form the driven element of the Yagi, and obviously we now want to build our boom up. So on this occasion we take our IT adapter and we place it on the top of the Versa-T like this, and we put a bolt into position to hold it. So now we've got the ability to start adding booms along the length of the Yagi. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to add 2 22-inch arms, one at the front here and one into the end of it. Now you can't see me screwing this in, and we're going to now screw 2 other boom pieces into our assembly like so. Now that is going to form the basis of a 3-element 6-meter Yagi. So we've got a center dipole element, a radiator, and then at each end of this we've now got the ability to put on our 2 elements, one which will make a director and one which will make a reflector. So what I'll do now is I'll rearrange the camera so you can see what I'm doing at each end here. Okay, doesn't matter which end this is now because we can adjust the element lengths to make this either the director or the reflector. The interesting thing to note is again we've got the collar on, and the lugs here are able to slot into the holes on the collar, and then we screw that in place. And that is now set up to accept our whips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the other end on and then show you what it looks like with the whips on. I won't video me putting all the collars and whips on, you've already seen how to do that. But just to remember that for the 6-meter Yagi, we're talking 6 of the 5-foot whips. And the dimensions for this are actually in the Buddipole website in the documentation section. Okay, so here we are with the 3-element. This is a 6-meter version. I haven't put this up in the air because I wanted to talk to you about a few tips. Firstly, the arms, you should really make sure these tubes, when they're rotated round, are nice and tight. The reason being is that when you put the collar on and screw the adapter on the end here, when you put the whips on, they'll have a tendency to drag. So it's a really good idea to make sure they're nice and tight first. Don't forget, Versatility in the middle with an IT adapter on the top, a soft knob to hold it in place. The coax gets connected to the red and black side just like a normal dipole. The settings for that are in the Buddipole documentation, but basically the longest set of elements are at the back of the antenna, shortening towards the front. So in this case this is the reflector, driven element, dipole, and then a similar at the other end we've got an IT adapter and soft knob collar combo. And that is really the 3-element. It's relatively lightweight, it's 2 arms each side, 22 inches long, and that's fairly robust even for a windy day, and relatively easy. Now, the one thing that I have experienced with this is the guying Velcro little collar that fits on the top. What I have noticed is that if you want to then turn the antenna, this tends to slide down and get hooked up with the knob. Now I have noticed on the Buddipole website some information on a ring that you can put onto these poles and allow the pole to slip freely. That sounds like quite a good idea, and I'm going to look at that as well now I've started playing with the Buddipole Yagis. You can build a 3-element 2-meter beam version of this, but basically that uses a 22-inch arm on either side and obviously shorter whips. A 3-element would be great for a field day on top of a mountain, SOTA, summits on the air activities, or just somewhere down by the sea for the day. We're very close to the ocean here, so that's what I intend to be doing during the summer. So now that's out of the way, I'll go on and show you the 3-element 10-meter beam, which is quite a significant step up from the 6-meter or the 2-element 12-meter beams. It uses a few extra parts. You might want to look at buying those. The documentation for the 3-element 10-meter beam is on the Buddipole Yahoo users group, and it's one of our VK members who built this up. But I've reproduced it quite accurately, and it does perform very, very well. So hang on, I'll take all this down, and we'll come back with a 3-element. here we have the 3-element 10-meter beam, and it's a bit more ambitious than the 2-element or any of the 6-meter Yagis. So what we've got here is on the reflector side we've got 3 22-inch arms and an 11-inch arm at the end of that, with an IT adapter on the end and 2 9-foot whips. In the centre we've got the Versity and an IT adapter on the top of that with 2 9-foot whips. Then at the director side of the antenna we've got 2 22-inch arms and an 11-inch extension as well, and 2 9-foot whips on the end. As you can see, it's quite a bit bigger than any of the other antennas, and you'll notice that the antenna tends to slope backwards because of the longer boom length behind the centre of gravity. What most people do that I've seen is that they would actually tie a piece of rope actually down to the mast just to pull this level. It's because there's a slight movement in the mast. Now that's the 3-element 10-meter beam, so that pretty much covers off all of the Yagis that I've seen with the Buddipole. You can build delta loops, and there is also some interesting designs that use vertical elements, so using the Buddipole tripod and the vertical whip to create basically half of a Yagi spaced out on the ground, and then to turn the beam you obviously have to move the tripods around. That's probably fine if you want to say pointed in one direction, and okay on the lower band, say 20 meters or 15 meters. The 10-meter Yagi performs really well and is really nice. The 2-element is good. The 3-element obviously is a more substantial antenna, but a leap forward again. But I would say this is probably as big as you'd want to go with the Buddipole parts. That pretty much covers it off today. I think probably that answers most of the questions that I've been receiving by email on Buddipoles. If you're interested and you have any further questions, then please drop me a note on the YouTube page, or feel free to give me a shout via email. You can find me on the Buddipole reflector, or you can find my contact details within this video. Okay, that's about it for this time. We'll play around with some verticals next time, which are quite interesting with the Buddipole and actually pretty efficient. Catch you later. Have fun. This is Simon, Z04PLM signing off.